There he is. Alderman, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's get your reaction first to the verdicts just read.
Well, I think this is a long time coming. A lot of us, knew that there were ethical issues in the Committee on Finance that Ed Burke was running for many years. When I became the finance chairman, I think after he had reigned over it for several decades, we really wanted to change the set of rules and the way that we operated and really change the way that he had been doing business. So for a lot of us, I think this was something that we knew was wrong, and eventually it was going to catch up with him. And of course, with the counts today and the conviction, we're at that point.
This, for people watching this and saying this is just another black eye for Chicago politics, and it's sort of how the business and the city is run, you're saying what, that it's no longer that way, or are people watching this case saying, see, this is still happening?
No, I think it can still happen. And, we have to continue not only in the city council, but across this state to set up ethics barriers that prevent elected officials who come into office or have been in an office for a long time from continuing to, commit this kind of public corruption. And we still continue to see quid pro quos in the way business is done. And I think a lot of us want to make sure that, as we go through this process, as we become elected officials, that we set up those barriers. I think when Mayor Lightfoot, when she was first elected to office, she upset a lot of aldermen by saying, hey, we've got to change the way we're doing business here. And removing Ed Burke from that position, making sure that he wasn't put back into it was a good step. But we need accountability across the board so that this doesn't continue. But even with that, if you look back just over the last few years, the people I've served with, there's been at least half a dozen who've gone to prison for similar activities. Now, on this one, with taxpayers losing out on what I think is billions of dollars in taxes, when you look at what's happened with Madigan, when you look at what happened with Burke, and this goes back decades, it is really the taxpayers and the citizens who've been losing out.
Well, I know you're not as connected with Mike Madigan, at least on a state level, as you were with Ed Burke. But if you were to read the tea leaves, what does this mean for Mike Madigan?
Well, I think it sends a message to any would-be jurors there and to the different teams on the defense and the plaintiff side prosecution side, that he's in pretty serious trouble. I think people are starting to look at this public corruption with more of an eye toward putting an end to the old machine politics, and I think that's the right direction to go. I wasn't surprised that the jurors deliberated for that long, because this was very complex. And I think, as your experts were testifying here, it's not easy to get people who know that they have to watch out when they're speaking to people. But in this case, Ed Burke felt he was protected because he had an old friend who was delving into the same public corruption troughs as he was.
What does a verdict like this do through City Hall and the halls of City Hall, if you will, Alderman? Even if you were to maybe perhaps consider something like this, this is, Ed Burke's coming out of the courtroom right now. We're getting a visual of that. In other words, I guess, if this were something that were still a thought among some in City Council, does this persuade them not to do it?
A lot of people looked up to Ed Burke in the city council over the many decades, and I think this should send a reverberating message that this is the last person you want to look up to. It's not the kind of thing that people should be doing. If people are thinking about committing public corruption or acts of public corruption, they better think twice, because I think the Public Integrity Unit of the U.S. Attorney has really proven here that no matter how great you think you are, how tall you stand in any elected body, they can bring you down.
Alderman, let's hold on for a second and see if the cameras are close enough to get a comment from Ed Burke.
You got it in? Okay. Thank you. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to hear anything. So, Alderman, I guess to circle back to that point, I guess, quid pro quo is one thing. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's another thing, is it not? I mean, isn't that kind of how politics work?
Well, I think, when you're looking to make changes in the city council and ordinances and things like that, there might be ways to go about it that are perfectly legal. I can support this ordinance if you support this ordinance, and people do that all the time. I think what happened here is, over the decades, Ed Burke and a lot of other aldermen made this personal profit over public integrity. And when people started doing that, they get exposed. That lack of accountability eventually comes out, and they're held accountable. And I think this case, it probably took a lot longer than people expected. A lot of us knew that some of this activity was going on, not to that same extent, but that Danny Solis got him on both the camera and the audio for. But a lot of us were pushing back on some of his tax appeal issues many years ago, and trying to convince our colleagues, more than 26 out of the 50, to act against it was often a very difficult task. I think over the years we were building up on that. We were able to push back on some of these issues and expose it more. But it also required mayors who would stand up and say enough is enough. And I think the detente that Mayor Daley showed, the detente that Rahm Emanuel showed, was very telling. It was basically, you know what, Ed, we're going to be hands off of you if you sort of stay hands off of what we're doing. And I think that allowed him to flourish in the position he was in. Unfortunately, it was to the total detriment of taxpayers.
Alderman, before we let you go, quickly, you're writing the headline tomorrow. What does it say?
Longest serving alderman finally goes down. I think this is something that is very surprising for a lot of people. But as you were saying before, alluding to, it should send a strong message to elected officials across the state that whatever they are doing that's illegal needs to stop.
All right. Alderman Scott
Thank you, Joe.
Waguespack, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.